Herzlich willkommen, hello, sziasztok. The video today I wanted to show you how do I start a flight plan, what do I do on IVAO, just on a bird's view perspective, just the big basics, where to begin, what to do. Let's talk about this stuff today. So normally, because I fly mostly on IVAO, I would have a look at the start on the WebEye. Let's look. We look at the weather, we look at the activity, maybe where the friends are, or where the ATCs are online. You will see, or maybe you know it already, there are several kinds of ATCs. So here in this moment we have, for example, in Germany, Langen information, which is only information services. So that means if you're flying only VFR like I do, it makes a lot of fun because here you have two-sided communication all the time also for VFR, and you don't have to think about should I contact the ATC today or not, does he or she has a lot of traffic going on IFR and things like that. So let's talk about what to do next. So we look about around the activities here, then we think about what do we want to do, where do we want to go. And I normally, as you might seen it, I do a lot of tours on IVAO. That means that you have a predefined story or a predefined route, and then you have to fly them leg by leg. For example, here we have the Hungarian division's tour system. The last tour I made there was a tour along the Danube, which was a lot of fun. You start in Germany and then you fly overhead the Danube River until the Black Sea. So you see it was, I guess, more than 30 legs, yes, 33 legs. And that was a tour I was flying. So normally what I would do is I fly around 3 or 4 parallel tours. Oh, now we see Budapest Tower is online. Maybe I can fly around and later on. So normally I would fly 3 or 4 tours parallel. Why is that? Well, it has several reasons. As you see, sometimes you have a lot of holes in the coverage. For example, normally I would have a tour, let's say on the Balkan or in Croatia. Then I would fly a tour somewhere in Western Europe, and maybe I would fly a tour in Northern Eastern Europe. So that means if I want to fly with ATC coverage, then maybe I am lucky. At that moment, I have more chances then to hit a tower controller. On the other hand, you see here now we have mainly stormy weather here over the Balkan. And that's a second reason. I already said I'm flying mainly VFR, so I wouldn't fly now here. It wouldn't be so fun on the one hand. On the other hand, maybe you wouldn't be allowed to fly according to the rules of VFR flight. So, what would I do next? If I'm having the mood and the weather is okay and everything is quite nice in Budapest, then I would say, do I have a tour there going on? That would be quite nice. So let's have a look. At this moment, I'm doing the beginning of a Hungarian pilot's career tour. Let's see where I am in this tour, what the progress is, and where the next leg should take us. Maybe it's Budapest, maybe it's not. That's how I begin a flight. No, we do not want to report a leg. but we do want to see what's next. So it would be from Geofog to Jör. That's actually not in the route for the controlled area of the Budapest Air. But let's see, maybe the tour is taking us through Budapest. This task is to land on the water, on the Balaton, and then continue to pair. Well, that's not really there where we have coverage. So it's all about the mood, about the preferences. If normally I would be in the mood just to have some flight under ATC, I would go there. And if I want to continue on my tour, I would do that. So, and why do I fly on IVAO would be maybe your next question. Because for me, Flight Simulator 2020 was a big leap when it comes to visual flights and visual flight throughs. It made a lot of sense and a lot of fun from one day to another to fly VFR, and IVAO is giving here a big leap also when it comes to reality, when it comes to the flight rules, flight planning, and all the things we may see or feel in the reality. So that is why I was pretty amazed when I first saw what is happening on IVAO and what the people are doing on IVAO free of charge. And that is why I started to get the trainings, to make the lectures, to get the people know, and to ask them questions, to look what the other peoples are doing. And it was really complicated at the beginning, but a lot of people were also helping, and that's why I also support all the people who want to get into this area. Because as I say always, I will say it a couple of times, I think I'm a special guy. I'm not yet flying with the big ones, with the Airbus or a Boeing. I'm still sticking to my Cessnas and Pipers. I love them. I love to see the scenery. I love to fly low, and that is why I'm really happy if I see a new VFR tour somewhere around Europe, maybe somewhere I want to go in future, or I already visited in real life. That's for me the motivation and a lot of fun. So getting into touch with reality. What means that? For example, what would I do maybe, let's see, an Austrian tour. Um, when we talk about reality, what would I do or how would I start it? So, I mean, I'm flying a lot in Austria, for example, also in Hungary. So my scenery base and my add-ons are quite up to date. But normally, if I start somewhere new, then I would have a look at the tour, for example. Let's just jump in where I'm, for example, here in Austria with the heli tour. So let's see where we are. The next leg would be from Klagenfurt to Friesach. Here we have always maybe sometimes longer one, maybe a shorter one, description about what is your mission there. But normally I would then have a look about my add-ons and about the sceneries which would be connected to the actual region. So that's Carinthia, that's southern Austria. So let's have a look. As I said, I'm still very up to date when it comes to Austria, and I can really recommend this quite nice program. It's called MSFS Addons Linker. So what does Addons Linker do? Well, it sorts your add-ons, so you can predefine a folder on your computer, and it doesn't have to be necessarily on the same hard drive. So you can say this add-ons folder is, for example, on the M drive, this one is on the E drive, and then you can say, you can name them. And for each flight, before you start the flight simulator, you can say, for example, I only want to fly in Austria, so you make a tick here. I do not need Slovenia, for example, and then you take it out, and you can sort all these things, which is quite nice, because when you have a lot of add-ons like I have it now, after 1 year of digging into Flight Simulator, then the startup time of the Flight Simulator will be quite high. So it makes sense only to activate those areas where you want to fly. So that was the first step, but where do I get the sceneries from? Flightsim.to, typically. I love this site. Two reasons. The one is you have a great scenery map. You will see what I mean. That means for our example now, if you click on full map, so we're flying around southern Austria. We want to make it as real as possible. So we would download these things, for example, from this area. You can click on it, you see what is it. Oh, we're not up to date, as I see. Sometimes you have a city, sometimes you have better ones, sometimes you have someone which would steal you a lot of frames, but it's a trial and error thing. And you have also a lot of comments from the community at the actual things, so you can collect a lot of data and look what people are saying, what failures they face. And the second thing why I like Flightsim.to is not only that you have a great map, you can see where you want to fly, what you want to download, or where you want to go, but only if you have a bunch of downloaded add-ons here, then you have a great notification about what is new, what can be updated, and these are only the two main things. There are a lot of interesting other things. For example, as the add-ons are getting more and more complex, they would use also second-hand and third-hand add-ons, which, for example, stuff the planes on the airfield. And when you download the mod, they will tell you automatically which are the connected mods you should also use. So there are a lot of functions, great functions, also great community, and everything free of charge, which is astonishing nowadays. I really like it. So these are the information about Flightsim.to, and let's have a look about where we should head today, what we should do. So where did I begin my IVAO career? That was getting in touch with the people who are in there and getting trainings, and you will see all that stuff. And I think the biggest hurdle, or the most difficulties people would get with ATC and the communication and the audio communication. Well, this is a thing you have to practice. I did watch a lot of real life YouTube videos, for example, before I went to sleep. You have a lot of videos with VFR people flying and talking to the tower and making tours also. And you have a lot of great training stuff also on IVAO, so videos and small exams with questions and answers and lecture books. So uh, you have to get through this. Everyone got through this. You have also programs like I think it's called text to ATC or something like that. You have a offline communication also with tower functions, so you can practice a lot. And the other things, what about airfields, rules of airfields, rules of traffic circuits, different airspaces? Well, that's a hard one. You have also learned the basics, but I have learned a lot of these information. For example, on a Swiss tour, which was called the Zurich Madness Tour, and you had really strict routes with strict airspace regulations. And if you were not really flying according to the regulations, then your leg was rejected. And that was um, a very great learning possibility for me, because I could talk actively about practical things with the trainees there, and I did learn a lot. And thanks to their patience again, but there are a lot of patient and very good, very high people with very high knowledge base on IVAO in every division in every country, so you can really rely on them. So what I would do next maybe is just jump into Innsbruck, because I did install a scenery there, a new one. Um, it's a photogrammetrical rebuild of the city, and I didn't have a look at it yet, so maybe we could have a look together. So let's do the flight planning. I don't know how you are guys with this, but this is the part I don't like really much, but it has to be done again and again. So we start in Innsbruck, where normally, if you're really according to the procedures, actually it depends on the division and on the airfield how strict they are. Um, but you would have at least one look about the official procedures, where you should be entering the airfield and where you should exit the control field of the airfield. You see this object here, which is darker than the other ones near to the airport. This is when you have controlled airports like Innsbruck at this time. This is the area you are not allowed to enter and exit without further notice or without the ATC person allowing you to do it so. So, but we wanted to start here, have a look above the city, and then go to Reutte. So while the simulator is loading up, let's talk about another helpful application, which is quite good for VFR flying. It's the little nav map. Why do we need the little nav map? Well, it has several reasons, and a lot of things you will get only to like when you progress with your flights and with your learnings while you're flying. So we will have to do a flight plan. That's a basic for IVAO. Sometimes you can make an easy flight plan by just telling that you don't have a flight plan, but also for this flight plan you will have to write a flight plan. So the basics for flying on IVAO is that you tell the people what you are doing, and an ATC controller or another one can have a look about your intentions. So like in real life, I think the basics of this flight plan IVAO is also like in real life, you have to fill out all this stuff. Who are you? Which plane are you flying? Where are you heading? Where do you want to circle? How fast you will be? How high you will
FS
fly?
Realistic connected.
And all these things. We heard that FS Realistic loaded in, but let's talk about flight assistance programs later on I'm using. And all the things, what you will hear or see, I'm not a pilot, I'm not working 100% through the checklist. I just wanted to give you an idea, a touch about how all these things are connected and how I do my videos and how my philosophy is about playing the game or flying in the simulator like you want to see it. So for a flight plan, it is good to know, because essential part of the flight plan is where do you start, what is your route, and where you will land. Good to know these things. And how do you know these things? Well, you have a map, and that's little nav map. Again, free of charge program. Thank you very much, Alexander Bartel. You can do a lot of with this program. I'm sure I'm only using 10%, and I love this 10%, so I cannot even imagine what to do with the 90% I'm not using. So you have actually you have here now the airspace of Innsbruck and the surrounding points. I won't tell you about these points at this time. For us it is important to see the airspace of Innsbruck. Then we zoom in, we see here the airfield, and then we see that there are some people in the red, which are IVAO flyers flying there. And that's enough for this moment. You will see here some points I did set in the past. This is important for the ATC controller and also when I do my route, because these are reporting points. Okay, so getting in touch with reality. We now have a map. We will do our flight plan, and where do we have to report? What are our reporting points and what are we allowed to do? That's the next point. So in Austria we have quite high connection to the reality. It depends also on the divisions, more or less. Some divisions have own maps for VFR flights. IFR flight is getting them really into reality, and for example you can use the real life charts then for the procedures. So for the VFR flight in Innsbruck, I would take the official site of Ostro Control. I would have a look into the visual flight chart, because I am flying VFR, and here you will have for the first time a lot of information. For us now, it's important to see these reporting points, because what will happen if we join the game, the ATC, well, maybe he wants to have from us an information what we will do, should be the case, but sometimes maybe when you approach an airfield, then people will tell you report overhead Foxtrot, and then it's good to have a map and it's good to know what the guy is talking about. So this is our major reference, we will use it maybe. So let's join the airfield and set up the flight. Alright, let's take maybe an easygoing plane. Let's take a Viper Warrior. With the flames on it, plus 5 knots per hour, just because of the flames. We would like to start in Innsbruck. And if you want to have peace with the people, then you would start your flight on IVAO where you should be intended to start your flight in real life. You won't get any trouble, you won't get any problem. Actually, when you start your first flights, you would also put into your flight plan that you are a newbie. Where do we have the flight plan here? So you would say here I'm a newbie, and then the controller sees it, and then the other pilots see it, and it will be easy going. You don't have to have any second thoughts about this. It's okay. We start here. So planning the flight on Little Nav map is only for your reference. What you can do later on is to import, which is really a great thing, the flight plan into the flight simulator. Then you could take it here by loading a flight plan and then taking here one. And then it would import the waypoints, and if you start with a plane with a GPS, you would have set everything in it, which is really great if you're flying long tours and you're a bit of lazy. So you don't have the necessity here to set up your flight in the flight simulator. So it's only important what I said, didn't take it, that you start on the general aviation part of the airfield. Let's start here. It's getting dark now, so I would cheat a bit on the real conditions with which we will also state in the remarks, but normally I would fly with live weather. There is one exception: after days of storm and weather, and maybe you come home from work and you don't have the possibility to fly elsewhere on that in another time, then I would change the weather, but mostly it stays live weather. So here's a point: I should have checked the weather. If it's according to the VFR minima, you have a lot of options with several validations. You could also take here a little map and say, give me the weather from Innsbruck, and you can set up in little nav map where you would take the data, for example. Okay, so I think yeah, here it is somewhere where you can, yeah, beta, and you could say take it from IVAO, take it from Active Sky, or from the flight simulator, which I don't like really, because I had a lot of issues with the flight simulator weather. So like in the cooking TV shows, I did prepare something here. So you see our route takes us from reporting point India to the mic route, and then a short sightseeing into the city, and then back to the mic route, India reporting point, and then proceeding on the whiskey route where we exit the control zone of Innsbruck. This is in Little Nav map. These points we did enter into the flight plan of IVAO, and you see a stay info on the left side on the route. Stay info is when you plan to stay somewhere. We plan to stay for 10 minutes above Innsbruck for the sightseeing tour, and then we will proceed back to the mic route and whiskey route, as we said. So with this given information, we entered into the IVAO and we can start. So we are in this beautiful city of Innsbruck. We are on the IVAO network. We did our flight plan. We did throw away our litter. Everyone is happy, everyone is ready, so set up the plane just real quickly without any comments. Do the preparation, give it some electricity, set the score code to VFR, which would be 7000.
Clear prop!
Yes, that's our program, FS Realistic, which I was talking about. FS Realistic gives us a lot of sounds in addition, so we have a more realistic flight experience. I really like this program. So let's light up the baby, and let's start the engine. No one around. So engine start up, and then we set the altitude according to the data we would have on IVAO, and also the tower will tell us, and it's also in the ATC information, in the ATC which we see on WebEye. So let's have a look about the actual information. Now we have Golf, it's information Golf, and also the person in the tower would tell us about the gusts up to 30 knots, which is in real life weather, so he's telling out people, watch out, it's windy out there. So let's contact our person in the tower, let him know we're here, let him know what we want to do, and that we want to have around above Innsbruck. So the first round of communication is always a greeting, so the controller has the chance to look on his map and just search for the person who is calling him. So what did we have? Information Golf. Okay, that will be important later on, but let's talk to the tower. Innsbruck Tower, Servus, Hallo, Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra. It would be good to have the frequency of the tower if you're talking to the tower. I had here the Unicom frequency, which would be our frequency on IVAO, where we have no tower or no controller, just to let people know where you are, what you are doing. Maybe there are a couple of planes in an area where no one is, so it's good to know what the other ones are doing. So again, Innsbruck Tower, Servus, Hallo, Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra.
Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra, go ahead.
Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra is a Piper 28 with 2 persons on board on general aviation. Would like to have a VFR flight from Innsbruck to Reutte, but before leaving the city I would like to make a round above the city if it's possible. And with you with information Golf.
Yes, that's a very good idea. It's possible. And when I'm not in tower, I would like to fly with you. That's flying so good. Also, out of runway 26, climbed 4,000 feet and make a left turn to the Mike route and report Mike 3, QNH 1008.
Perfect. If it's okay for you, I'm maybe making a short video, and then you will see all the things which you're missing now. So QNH is 1008. After airborne, make a left turn to 4,000 feet, Mike route, then above the city, and then go forward on the flight plan. Hotel Alpha Sierra.
Super. Ich wink aus dem Tower raus.
Alles klar. So that's a perfect situation. That's as better your flight plan gets. Oh, now we have a visitor flight popped in. That means someone connected on IVAO, I guess. Let's have a look. No, that's only ENG, which is another program I'm using. Let's talk about that a bit later. AIG is also a thing which was made by the community free of charge. It's giving you real life traffic with real liveries. So about the traffic controller, as better your flight plan is, as better they know what you intend to do. So you saw he was giving us exactly the route we wanted to have. If you would like to have a change now from that, you can talk with the traffic controller.
Dann hast du den Flugsimulator jetzt auf Tag gestellt, oder? Oder machst du Infrarotaufnahmen, oder wie geht das?
Ja, genau. Leider schafft man es nicht immer, dann zu fliegen, wenn es in Real Life auch passt. Deshalb habe ich jetzt einmal gerade Sonnenuntergang, so quasi. Aber Wetter ist real, also die Böen werden wir haben.
Ja, die sind super, hey, wow. So 25 Knoten jetzt derzeit, gell? Toll.
So yeah, and also we have a lovely one today. So if you need any change from that, you can just tell him, and he will allow it, or he will say negative, and it's not possible. So I had a great chat with the traffic controller, which normally isn't the case, but that's great for the video because we have time, we don't have any stress. That's how you should do your first flights also. Look some airfields where there's not really much traffic, and maybe fly with a friend who is experienced, and just enjoy the first flight and make it step by step. And this was...
Aber der allgemeine Luftfahrt braucht hier nicht staatliche Prüfung.
So you see, again the chat was going on. So I kind of lost my what I wanted to tell you. So the thing is that the Wiz Flyer is actually not from the software, not made by the software, but he's really from IVAO. It was only the lack of time between we saw it in the simulator and web I loaded it in. So it's a guy, actually not a Wiz Flyer, that's Eurowings, and he's flying today from Innsbruck to Nuremberg. So let's see how he will cross our plans to fly over Innsbruck, but at this moment it looks good, and there is no one coming in, and also at this moment the traffic control for whole Austria got also online. So if we would now fly to Salzburg, then he would give us the landing clearance and also the traffic instructions on the airfield of Salzburg, which is a controlled airfield, that's why. So getting back to our flight, we had a chit chat here and there. We were talking about the history and the future, but now we want to start our flight, and we will ask for taxi permission on all controlled airfields. You're not allowed to do anything unless you are said to do so. So let's check, because we were talking a lot of and not really looking about around our plane. We have the lights on, we have the transponder on standby. We have okay, pitot, turn it on. Yeah, let's ask for the taxi clearance. Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra is ready for taxi.
Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra via Bravo, holding point runway 26.
Via Bravo, holding point runway 26, Hotel Alpha Sierra. So let's start. Let's roll parking brakes off. It's not going because we have the chokes. Just there, you see it.
Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra, you are ready for rolling takeoff?
Yes, I'm rolling now.
I have asked you Could you make a rolling take-off on runway 26?
Oh yes, rolling takeoff is possible. Hotel Alpha Sierra.
In this case, Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra, line up runway 26, wind 270 degrees, 31 knots, runway 26, clear for takeoff.
Runway 26 cleared for takeoff, Hotel Alpha Sierra. So that was a quickie, a real quickie now. We have to do the before takeoff preparation on the run, because he said just go and just take off. So that means that we have to do the setups here, do the lights turn on and all the other things we forgot. And let's start. So we are now at around 2,000 of sea level. We have to climb up to 4,000 where traffic level. Let's see. Also contact ATC and say that we're joining on the route. And then we will have further sleep. So Hotel Alpha Sierra is near Mike 3 and near 4,000 feet. And after that we would fly overhead the city if it's possible.
If it's possible, all approved. I will call you when incoming traffic or outbound traffic. Make a glorious sightseeing at Innsbruck. All approved.
Perfect, thank you, Hotel Alpha Sierra. So, trim at 4,000.
Er fliegt zu zweit, oder wie?
Na, das wäre jetzt ein kleiner Fehler. Ich mache ein Video. Schauen wir mal, ob es die Leute interessiert.
Das muss man schicken, welcher Kanal, das schau ich mal an.
Ja, gerne. So, welcome to this gorgeous city of Innsbruck. I'm also going to check the new scenery. Well, I don't know. It's fully convinced that this is a great scenery. The city looks much more realistic, that's true. But maybe also this situation with the snow is messing things up. Well, let's see. I'm enjoying the scenery. I hope you are too. So you can see that we are here just on the final for the runway, and that's why our really nice and really friendly traffic controller said that he will let us know if someone is coming or going, because here we are really good delay for anyone changing just fuel tank.
Hotel Alpha Sierra, please check mode Charlie.
Checking mode Charlie, Hotel Alpha Sierra. Passt es jetzt?
Thank you, yes. Na, irgendwas funktioniert wieder nicht, komisch. Also mit dem Transponder-Code, wenn das nicht Mode Charlie ist, kann ich nichts sehen. Das ist komisch, schade. Kannst du nochmal schauen, bitte? Irgendwas, etwas besser.
Es gibt auch Flieger, wenn ich im Cockpit da an den Sachen drehe. So, it's time to join the microphone again, and it's getting also dark. So let's say our controller that we are leaving our sightseeing and we join the microphone, and then the whiskey route again. We'll check on little lever where our position is. Oh yeah, you can say that we will join your microphone again. Hotel Alpha Lima Sierra is finished with the sightseeing overhead Innsbruck, and we'll join Mike 3 again and head for the whiskey route to leave the CPR.
In this case, Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra, climb to 5,000 feet or below. QNH has changed to 1009er and join in the whiskey route, report Whiskey 1.
Climb 5,000 maximum, joining the Mike route and the whiskey route. QNH is 1009er and we report Whiskey 1, Hotel Alpha Sierra. Always say what they say, except the weather. Basic rule. The second basic rule is who you are, where are you, and what you want to do. So he said it's approximately 5,000 feet, and we can join this outer route.
I hope your video flight is great. I will see it.
It looks really nice. There's a new scenery for Innsbruck, for the city, the buildings. And I tested that, so I wanted to fly here, and I was really happy that there was also a traffic controller online.
Oh, that's good for me.
Zwei Fliegen mit einer Klappe. So, now we are reaching Whiskey 1, which is the official bye-bye reporting point, and he also asked us when we started our Mike and Whiskey that we should report here. Let's do it. Hotel Alpha Lima Alpha Sierra is overhead Whiskey 1.
Hotel Alpha Sierra leaves frequency. Bye, have a good flight.
Ja, vielen lieben Dank, switching to Unicom. Ich hoffe, man sieht sich wieder mal, gell? Und ich schicke dir dann garantiert das Video, wenn es fertig ist, weil da bist ein essentieller Part heute.
Du bist seriös, gerne, danke dir, gell? Alles Gute. Freue mich wieder, wenn du mal die wieder triffst. Servus.
Ja, ebenso, hat irrsinnig Spaß gemacht und schönen Abend, gell? Liebe Grüße, ciao.
Servus, danke.
So, that's a lovely bye-bye you really rarely get. We are getting out of this ugly cloud slowly. We had some raindrops here and there. Normally, you would really check also the temperature that you don't get any ISO problems, which is now we totally have in the face of around 0 Celsius degrees. Yes, so as you see, that's not all the totally real flight conditions and things you would watch and think about. It's about getting the basics and somehow just jumping on the enjoy flying. So we wanted to land in Reutte, or we wanted to fly in Reutte. We have now 2 options. We gather some height and fly over here, the mountains, or second option is fly into the valley, reached, and then gather here some height and right there. That's an option we have to consider, but we're not so far from the top, so let's gather some height and take an altitude. As you can see, I did it to Reutte. I wouldn't do it a second time. It was heavy wind, darkness, and the Piper Warrior got to the limits. It was not a fun flight. So here you see now the pictures of the landing. It got dark and it got complicated. I didn't record my voice at this point. For the first, this video was what I wanted to do. Feel free to ask questions. Let me know which part of flying on IVAO you would see more in more detail. I'm open and I'm happy to make a new video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.